All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome. It is 11 o'clock Eastern time on a Wednesday, which means we're live from the Adorama event space here at 42 West 18th Street. That is the actual store behind us. This is not a green screen, so if you're around, swing on through. This guy came from the other side of the earth. My man, Keith Alexander, is an OG host here at Adorama. He's the man of audio for us. We're going to jump into him in a little bit, but first, I want to let you guys know this one's sponsored by Printique. If you are looking to get some holiday prints going, now's the time, because using code whatever that was that I put in there, you get 30% off, $75 or more, free shipping until November 12th. So check out the link down below. And I know a lot of you photo fiends are going to start doing the holiday stuff, so save some money on it. Why not? Use that code. It's there for you. Use it. All right, enough of the shilling. My man, Keith Alexander right here. Welcome to the States, my man.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here, isn't it?
He's been spending the last hour critiquing my audio setup. I'm a stills photo guy, so he's just been let me have it.
I didn't say much. Just a few light points.
He says I shouldn't touch my mic.
The hairs are don't touch the mic.
Well,
yeah.
Forever ago, you guys might remember when we had the Twitch channel. My man went live for our community, who is arguably a lot of stills photographers, not really audio people, but he had to build a live stream setup, so he had to learn our side of things. You asked me some camera questions. I was like, excuse me? But then again, I have absolutely asked you a bunch of audio stuff that's probably rudimentary.
Oh, listen, man, it's always open. Look, I mean, sharing the information is all good, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was brilliant crack, actually. I went out every week.
Yeah, I mean, you were an Iron
lockdown,
Man.
Right?
I mean, you were this crazy guy talking to yourself because that chat just wasn't populating. You were talking to Nightbot. You were talking to our chat bot that was giving us links automated. You're like, thank you, Nightbot.
Oh, you know what I mean? I have a friend finally. Show the kids.
But what you guys might not know is, especially if you're new to the channel and you haven't been around, there's a whole series of Keith going deep diving into audio, and it's still relevant today because it's still the principles of getting better audio. And as photographers, as video people, you know we always forget about the audio.
Totally. Tragically. Not tragically. I mean, it's well, that's why I did the videos in the first place. You know what I mean? So I was asked to do these things, and it says, yeah, brilliant. And it's only when I delved into it did I realize that you have, so many people out there, and especially after the pandemic, right?
Right.
You have 1,000,001 people with cameras and whatever else they're doing, and they're goofing off, and they're doing a bit of photography here, and either they're amateurs or they're professionals. You go into lockdown, and then you go, well, what else can I do? Especially if you're a professional, you're trying to make some extra money somewhere. So an awful lot of photographers got into videography. Yep. And there's an awful lot of people out there, they just don't have a clue of what they should be doing, and they're not necessarily focused on that either. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think they know to look for it. I mean, if it's not what you are focused on, it's not really what you're seeing or hearing.
They want the big sweeping shot, and it's absolutely beautiful, and you get your subject, and you got the backgrounds, and you got your logos in there, and you got whatever you got in there. Like I was saying to you earlier, I put a survey out on LinkedIn regarding podcasts, and I was asking people, well, what do you do about your audio? And 50% of respondents came back and says, I don't even consider audio. And this is a podcast, which is an audio-based medium.
He lost his mind. He's being very calm right now.
Right, so, I mean, I couldn't believe it. To be honest with you, people do focus on their picture, rarely the setup in the gear they're using, the audio they're using. And you know what? You could have the most amazing setup, most amazing picture. But if their ears have been cut off,
they're not going to watch it.
Or they can't hear you, they're going to listen to 30 seconds of it, and then they're on to the next video. Totally. It's so important. It's so important. It's cerebral. It's visceral. It's the most important thing that I listen. Pictures are just, nobody comes out of the cinema whistling a wide shot, you know what I mean?
Well, I think the audio is what makes you feel there, especially with like the bigger screen, all the Marvel stuff. It's the audio that's kind of
totally
banging
engaged with it. You find yourself, especially, you're recording, like you were saying earlier, you're shooting this stuff live or whatever else. You might put some noise reduction on, but you do leave a bit of the ambience on there, because if it's totally clinical, just a voice spilling over your video, nobody can relate to it. It's like it's anesthetized. You know what I mean?
It's over retouched images for audio is what that is.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, cheers, mate.
Sláinte.
We got ourselves we got ourselves some coffee from Brulita. Thank you guys so much for the coffee. How's it?
Iontuck. Iontuck is wonderful. Oscailga.
Guy's killing me. I got to tell
I
you
can't
how
believe I'm doing this in English. It's unbelievable.
I feel so classless next to this guy. He's got the velvet voice. He's got the button shirt. He's just popping and locking. I'm like, all right, what are we doing today? I'll show up with a clean shirt for once. It's the day after Halloween, guys. You got to give me some.
Listen, man, you turned up in a clean shirt. That's more than that. You know
I
what
keep
mean?
a shirt here just in case. That said, you do a lot of audio work, but it's always per project. So mixing audio for a film has got to be different than doing something for vocal like we're doing here.
Oh, yeah, totally.
When you're mixing for a film, are you going to them with some sort of treatment? You'd say, here's how I would do it. Or are they going, hey, we shot this, we want this feel, and you've got to meet that requirement? Do you
Pretty
get to put a
much.
stamp on it?
It literally all depends on the budget. So if you got 60 million bucks to spend on audio, you know, you're going to say where your money is spent, right? And you hire the people that you want. You
Right.
see, right, Mr. Alexander over there, he has a certain style, or I love what he did with this movie, and then I'll just hire him in. Great, no problem. But then I get an awful lot of stuff as well, which will be lower budget stuff. So in Europe, you wouldn't be talking those massive budgets that you would be in with American Hollywood blockbusters and stuff, right? So you do have to not necessarily cut corners, but you do have to be more efficient in your creativity, right? So for me to sit down, people will come to me and they'd say, there's my movie, frame 1 to whatever, 120 minutes end frame, and then will you put that together? So I sit down and I go from frame 1 to end frame with either the sound design, the music comes on. Can nobody hear me? Can they not? Am I too low?
You're so soft and I'm so loud. I don't think they know what to do. So Saul Martinez is saying the guest speaker's audio is very low cut, can't hear him at all.
Oh, really? I should speak up. Gavin, what's the story, man? How are you doing, buddy? Gavin Hoey's in the house.
Gavin Hoey's the man.
Is he always in the house?
Well, he definitely pops in on this show.
Good man.
And
Good man, Gav. How's things? Are you well?
We got 2 legacy hosts going back to back now. You guys are the OG hosts on the channel.
Toe to toe.
Oh, jeez. Well, you're on the same side of the earth, you know, sort of.
So as a saying, yeah, man, it all depends on budget and stuff like that. But you know, you can be doing kids. I like to keep my hand in and do student movies as well, because it's really important for them to learn as well and understand the process, right? So that's kind of me just sitting down and having a bit of crack with that. You know, whether you're getting paid for it or not, it's student stuff. So yeah, listen, you approach every movie as it comes to you. Bigger budget, more pressure, man, lots more pressure. But then you get beautiful gigs, and I do documentary stuff as well, which I absolutely adore. So I currently just finished, I'm doing documentaries all the time, but I had a beautiful gig come to me last year from a very dear friend of mine, and he called me out of the blue and he says, come on out to the islands, the Aran Islands in the Atlantic, and go and record stuff. And they kind of, I got off the boat and they said, go play. So I went
Just
off
gather.
to record grass and leaves and cows and fucking air and wind and everything. It was brilliant, absolutely joyous. And then go back to my studio in Dublin and sit down with all my noises, and I categorized all my noises. It was fabulous.
Okay. He comes down to me for making like an impression of him, but that's literally what just happens. He gets so, it's like a cricket. Oh, that's like 16 notes. Oh, let me get my giant plastic ear recorder
that's
thing.
me. That's me. I'm afraid so, yeah. And anyway, I got all my noises, and I got to design the movie, and it went to Venice, and it was amazing out there. And you know, it's those sort of gigs as well. Like, I mean, I love designing in the studio for film, for TV shows, all that sort of stuff as well. But when you're out there and it's just you're eating the stuff, you know, you can smell the stuff that you're recording, you know what I mean? It's amazing. And I love documentary in that sense, you know what I mean?
Well, it's also got to be really helpful for you to be in the environment the sound is from. You're not just getting it from like a sampler pack.
Okay, so yes, I have. This is going to sound a little odd, but I do have a lot of experience in my ears, because this has been my dominant sense all my life. So for me to look at a picture, I have a very, very good sense of how it would sound.
Gotcha.
Because I hear the scene more so than see the scene, if you understand what
totally
I mean.
get it.
Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So, yeah, like, I mean, I'd see a New York scene. I've been here 15 years ago. It's all logged and categorized in here. I know exactly what I have to do where for whatever shot. You know what I mean? With the appropriate noises that would be, because if I put just on a really basic level, if a truck is going by here and I used a sample of a European truck,
It would be
it's
different.
just complete. And then people are going to go, oh, That's not right. And now they're out of the story, they're out of the moment, and they're lost.
Well, it's true. I mean, you got to think about the spacing of the buildings, how it's going to bounce off, right?
Uh-huh.
The type of engine, what type of muffler or regulations they have on the pollutants and
Literally, regulation of engines in Europe are, we got smaller engines and whatever else.
Diesels.
You guys got diesels, or you got petrol cars and stuff like that. The cars' engines are much smaller. You got to be aware of the model of the car.
The type of pavement too, the way it bounces off of that type of substrate. I mean, it's all.
And is it raining? Is it snow?
Is it raining?
What sort of shoes are you wearing? You're not going to walk down here every day in stilettos. So I mean, basically, we basically have to.
They make me
be
look
aware
so
of
good.
that.
I feel like I take on anything. Well, that's it. So if your ears are so tuned, like, can you tell if it's about to rain just from the sound that's going on outside? Oh, come on, man. Be a superhero.
No, you
Say
got to
yes.
cut out the animal a certain way just to read the thing, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Bear Grylls here.
So there's a Dead Pixel Necromancer is asking, do you still get surprised by how certain things sound?
Dead Pixel Necromancer, is that his first or second name?
He's an OG.
I get surprised how certain things sound. I don't really. Do I get surprised?
I guess if you're assuming how something would sound and then you actually get to hear it.
Do you know what? No, it's my experience of receiving the sound, I think, would surprise me more, right? And I say that because I'm going to start working on another documentary, right?
Okay.
And it's about the sound and communication of dolphins. Okay. So I've been researching. It's a lot of sound, and it's a massive bandwidth of sound. They can hear right down there and way up there.
So
and
you're
we
going to go
can't hear
diving
that.
first?
So, right, I started looking into hydrophones and that sort of stuff, and I'm starting to design hydrophones. Unless you're spending shed loads of money, right, are generally omni, right? So they record all around, like a globe right around the microphone. But we need to record directionally in this documentary. So we're going along in the boat. Next thing is the dolphins start a bow ride. I need to catch what they're saying to each other up here or what they're singing up here. I don't need all the splashy noise of the boat and the water and stuff. So I need to be directional. So I started designing a few bits and bobs here, and I started talking to companies, literally just emailing them saying, listen, I'm a useless at this. I was going to go somewhere. Anyway, I'm useless at hydrophones and stuff. I've no experience, right? Can you please tell me something about it? And they came straight back. They're lovely people up in Nova Scotia.
We got an email. Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's what happened. Like, oh my God.
Was that it? Yeah. Close to we'll take a half day. We got an email. And they were brilliant. So there's this experience of me going to talk to these people, building these devices that myself and my daughter go out. I've got a big giant sea kayak, and we go out there and we go out into the Dublin Bay and we start throwing these devices over the side and recording stuff. And long story, even longer. Yeah, receiving the sound surprises me. That now I'm starting to hear a world that I don't have everyday experience of, which is under the water, right? So these lovely people in Geospectrum, they're going to send us over some hydrophones as well, so I can actually get some real decent recordings under the water. And I'm just dying to get out there with this new technology I've never had experience of. I have goofy little hydrophones at home for recording rock pools and stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's a shed load of noise in rock pools, and it's very exciting, man. You know what I mean?
Like, stop and stop. Come on.
So what I'm saying to you is to receive something brand new like that to your experience that you don't have experience of, it's just mind-blowing.
So it's like a new palette?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I can take those noises and I can bring them into other stuff, for stylized stuff, for sound design. You know what I mean? When you're talking about whales and you're talking about the song of dolphins and mollusks scratching across a rocky surface. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, that's what it sounds like. And they're all clicking and talking to each other. And fish are talking to each other. And you're going, oh, listen, lads, I have a whole lot of learning going on here. You know what I mean?
But then you got to ask the end user, right? The end person receiving it, are they going to notice? Would someone who's watching that documentary notice that there's not enough muscles talking to each other?
No.
In that?
But then, right, if they're under the water as a scuba diver and they're in there every single day, they're not going to hear it the same anyway.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But what I would try and do is give it as clear a palette as possible, to give them a real understanding. People don't go and watch Blue Planet 2 for, CGI and stuff like that. They want to see the real stuff. Do you know what I mean?
And in slow-mo.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, glorious 4K, right? So I'm going 32-bit, yes! You know what I mean? So, yeah, they want to hear the real palette, you know what I mean? And see exactly, because they go and look at those shows and go, holy moly, look at that animal that we don't see and it's doing this and that, or snow leopards, and wow, because we don't have one of those in our local park. So that's what they watch. So to give them the sense and give them not ownership, but a belonging, a resonance with them, that they can relate to it. Do you know what I mean? That they can relate to the environment, the creature, and that's when I'm going, deep ocean crud, you know what I mean? You're doing that. I think you're talking about the first video, and I was talking about getting free breeze blocks and moving mollusks across the rocks, right?
Yeah.
And literally, you just got to get them and give them the sense of the animals. So the empathy, the visceral, cerebral empathy that people can have for these creatures. And if they're relating to these creatures and understanding the environment, then they're in there, they can relate to it, and you can draw them into the story. Do you know what I mean? Right. So now they're right in there. They do a lot of good stuff in the BBC with that sort of stuff in post, with designing animals and the way they go and get these noises and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, what we're trying to do is engage the viewer.
Well, yeah.
With their heart.
It's the subtle buildup, the buildup of subtleties that create the honesty that you can start going, I'm connecting to this because it's feeling like it should. Even if you don't understand it, somehow inside of being a human, you go, no, this is, it's fuller.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, totally. So, and the thing is also, if they're in that environment and they're not engaged with it, then they're out of the story.
They're out of it.
You've lost them.
Goes to communication.
Yeah. So my job is to make sure that they don't notice how good the sound is. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's just like a good makeup artist. You don't realize they have makeup on.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I
totally,
totally get
right?
it. It's just like good retouches. You don't realize it was retouched.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Right.
So sound design, right?
Yes.
As a visual guy?
Yes.
Give me a definition of what sound design means, because it sounds so crazy to someone that's like, you're not physically building or designing something, but you actually are. You're gathering materials. Mm-hmm. They're just samples.
Yeah.
So what in your definition, what is sound design?
Oh, Jesus.
Come on. Come on.
So, right. I'd definitely suggest that it's you creating the most appropriate response for engagement. Maybe.
Wow,
right?
That was deep.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you're expecting something to be like, well, you kind of get your A sounds and your B sounds, and you get them together, and you build an environment.
No, basically, why would I put a specific sound in? I want an emotional response from whoever, right? Whether it's a street scene, whether it's big sound effects in a Marvel movie or whatever. There's a reason why you use that specific sound, the specific range of frequencies, the dynamics of the range of frequencies, where you position that within the film of listening, if you the field of listening, and why it's appropriate at that point. I mean, we're talking about car engines and truck engines earlier, you know what I mean? It's basically to give the viewer an engagement. And when we were talking earlier that you're shooting these conference halls and all that sort of stuff, and you don't hear any of the conference hall, that you use your, dialogue isolate in...
Voice isolation.
Voice isolation, DaVinci, right? That you pull everything out apart from the voice. Weird. It's just odd.
Weird.
It's absolutely odd. You know what I mean? So, yeah, totally. That's what you're trying to do, and that's what sound design is about. You can go stylized and go big bash crash, cars blowing up, spaceships, rockets, all that sort of stuff. But as big as you are, why did you use the sound you did for that specific thing at that specific point in the narrative? Because sound design is an awful lot of narrative as well. Mm-hmm. That I can have some really subtle stuff in the cinema, in the back speakers, really low, that's almost imperceptible. But imagine, you got your teenage kids, horror movie, they're walking through the house, they come to the door, suddenly I put a really cold wind in the background, right?
My man.
Some sort of vibration under there, and they're focusing on this. They don't know what's going on here, and suddenly they got a chill before they even go in the door. Do you know what I mean? That's what you can do with sound. So, you know what I mean?
Have you ever finished a project or were in the middle of a project and a director, someone who's not necessarily sound heavy like you are, leans on you to do something they feel would be like, well, that's not natural, but I want it like that. Do you push back? Do you go, look, man, you hired the wrong guy?
No. Of course, you do everything the director wants.
You just want
they're paying the bills.
Here, Keith Alexander's a sellout.
And then you turn around and you do your own thing.
Has anything ever come out and you were like, I should have changed this? Have you ever had regrets about decisions in projects, or have you learned something? If you go back to your older work, do you go, now I would have done it this?
Christ, yeah. You know, I mean, I'm in the game about 30 years, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I would have looked back at, game stuff and stuff like that as well. I would have looked back at and said, you know what I mean? But now I have the hindsight of a lot of technology that I didn't back then as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I can address issues with sound, I can address issues with whatever, and I can use different technologies, synthesizers, sampling, resampling, and just playing with the noise and stuff like that now. So stuff I would have done 5 years ago, I could do a completely different job with nowadays.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And same thing with us with imaging. But
totally.
I got one question I always had for you, and I actually wanted to ask you during the Twitch days, because you were interviewing people that worked on video game sound, which I think is a massive undertaking.
Yes.
And people don't realize how much you have to like overly record because of what's happening might not be the same for everyone. So you need like 6 versions of someone getting hurt. But what's the difference in immersion as far as sound design goes between a film and a game?
I don't think there's a whole lot. I think it's mainly to do with the emotional engagement. Now, game is far more clinical.
Really?
I feel, yeah. Because for specific footsteps and stuff like that, you have to have a bank of sounds, right? So are they running? And this is all running at once, right? So you got your running sounds, you got your surfaces, you got all that sort of stuff. In a film, it's very linear, right? Okay. So you got frame 1, you go down to end frame, you got the scene where she's walking along the street. What's the street made of? It's concrete. Okay, what shoes is she wearing? Okay, so we did that scene and we filled that scene and it was amazing. But with a game, right, there's all sorts of interactions in there. So by me doing this in this scene, we got to bring in different sounds, right, for that appropriation of that monster coming in there or whatever, right? So you have a scene, and with Wise, which is the game engine that most people will be using, you got to design all the permutations for that scene, right? So there's not just one linear stereo WAV or Atmos WAV or whatever you want to call it for that specific scene or that specific movie. There's so many other layers that are going on at the same time. And there's an awful lot of engines out there that for game, I see me young lads, they're at home on the Xbox and that sort of stuff. By the way, hiya Dunny, I hope you're doing all right, buddy. That's me young lad. He's back in Dublin, poor fella. He was meant to come on holidays and he never made it. Poor
New York will still be here one day, don't
we
worry.
will, and we'll come down here and we'll have a chat with the lads, all right? Good man, Dunny. So, I'm watching the lads playing games and I'm going, that's just crazy. And why would you use that specific foot sound for that character in this? Because I have my film head on me most of the time. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So they use generators that give you a kind of sound, but it's all synthesis.
But it's picking it for you at that moment.
No, when they're designing it, I mean, right? Yeah. So the designer will sit down with all these engines,
right, and
they'll come up with different footsteps for this appropriate scene. They'll come up with different sound effects. And it's all FM synthesis, or it's computer generated stuff. So if I'm putting a scene of somebody walking along the street here, I don't have completely dry footsteps. Right?
Yeah.
There's going to be slap off the building. There's the echo off the building. If they're in a cave, there's going to be a specific sound off a cave, just to give people a sense of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
A subway footstep sounds totally different from a natural cave footstep.
Totally, right? Yeah. And there is not necessarily that level of involvement in the design of the sound effects in game that I've seen necessarily. Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong games. Maybe I'm looking at older games. But again, it's probably all just down to budget. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, AAA games are so different from indie games and stuff like that.
Totally.
I feel like the philosophy, I was wondering what the philosophy was about. Yeah, and it's really interesting to hear that you say it's clinical. In my head, forever as a gamer, I'm just like, it must feel like you're working on 10 movies at once, because it's not just footstep, it's hard footstep, it's fast footstep, it's light footstep, it's footstep, it's raining in the game, it's footstep I get out of a car. All in the same instance, where if it was a film, it's like, that is just what that is.
Yeah. So you push your controller forward, now you're running.
Yeah.
Whereas you could have walked through the whole scene.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's absolutely that all the time. And the game has to have that loaded all the time. So it just suddenly, right, controller goes this way, now I'll pull down a running sound, excuse me, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or how fast you're running. So the synthesis works so much better. If I'm working on Foley, right? So when I'm foleying movie, right? I look at the scene, and again, your one is walking across the street here, right? And she's walking with stilettos on concrete. It's a dry day, right? So now that's the sound we're hearing. There might be a little bit of slap off the wall, okay? So that's great. I look at that, and I do that, and I go into the studio. I put down concrete on the floor of the studio. I walk across with stilettos, mimicking what she's doing on the screen.
What size do you wear?
It was the weekend. What you do in your own time, you know what I mean?
Halloween, man.
Yeah. So you basically, there's people that do this for a living. So they'll literally just walk the shoes, they'll walk across concrete, they'll walk across snow, they'll walk, what's the shoes, what clothing are they wearing, are they synthetic clothes so you hear the rustle of that, or is it fur and you don't hear anything, and you literally replicate the actor doing whatever they do on stage, right?
Yeah.
Now, with a game, everything changes. How hard is his footsteps? How fast is the character running? What clothes is he wearing, etc. And only through synthesis can you do that. So if I'm recording sound Foley feet for your one walking across the street here, okay, that's a WAV. That plays from there to there. That's the WAV, the sound file for that, right? And we record and mimic her movements. So from frame one to end frame of that scene, or when she's moving on screen, that's locked off. Right. That's the timeline of that sound effect in that moment, right? Whereas game, it's changing all the time. So if you can use synthesis, and synthesis changes all the time. So basically you're using your controller and you go fast and you're running now.
Right.
Now the game engine can access these made up sounds in the console or on the game data or whatever else instead. So the timeline isn't fixed. The timeline's changing all the time. Do you understand what I mean?
Since the environment's so virtual, like it doesn't actually exist most of the games, it can't exist most, right? Do you feel you get more liberty as a creative with the sound?
In a game?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Whoa, really?
No,
you could do anything, and that 8-year-old would be like, yeah,
but I can do it in animation as well.
And
I can do it in a film. I do tons. I've been working on animation forever, right? And when somebody turns around to me and gives me an animation, right? Because there's no sound in animation, right? You just got pictures that move. 25 are over here. It's
what? You told me Nemo is a documentary?
No,
I thought I was
afraid not, man.
I was trying to find. No,
and I didn't have any hydrophones then either. So the next thing is you got this complete blank canvas. So where do you start with animation? Of course, the budget. How long do I have to finish this piece? Yeah. How long is the piece? How many characters? How many scenes? All that sort of stuff. And you can go hell for leather, right? Yep. With a low budget movie, you can use some of the location sound if it's decent, right? Mm-hmm. If it's decent, right?
Did you hear that deep breath? Did you? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, why are sound guys such snobs? Let's get into this.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys really...
How to alienate half the community before you actually open your mouth.
You got your best friend from the community, Vagar, in the chat right now.
Oh, Vagar, what's the story, man? How are you? Great to hear from you. And I didn't actually see who else is in here, so I'm sure there's a few more of the lads. Listen, whoever touched base with me before I did this show, listen, thanks a million. It was so lovely to hear from you all. It was really, really lovely. So anyway, hi.
And we're grateful to Keith for being like the Adorama sound guy. I mean, you really have been the quintessential Adorama sound guy. The series that you had forever ago was awesome. We still go back to it.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate what you did on Twitch. I just wish we cultivated the sound audience. Look, we're a bunch of photo nerds here. but I think it's important that we hear this, especially now that a lot of you getting into video. Now our cameras are just going.
It's super important. Super
it's a
important.
switch away.
Yeah.
It's one switch. And no one likes an on-camera microphone.
Yeah, no, don't even think about it, because you're just giving yourself a whole world of pain. Whole world of pain.
So what would you say to guys like us that have to learn have to get our ears to learn what we're trying to listen for? Because you have to train it. You have to figure out what you're trying to create.
So imagine you turn around and you watch your favorite movie, right? Goodfellas, right? Take a scene from Goodfellas, right? Or whatever, right?
Hey, from New York.
I'm here all week.
Scorsese for life.
So take a scene of that, right?
Yeah.
And then turn off the sound and see what you think of it.
Wow.
Or else a movie or a Marvel thing, right? Favorite, biggest, crashes, bashes, fucking rockets and things blowing up and whatever else. Brilliant. Yeah, you're loving it. Now turn off the sound. Do you know? And then you're going to start looking, oh, what am I missing? And when you start understanding what you're missing, I mean, easiest thing, just go out with your camera. Just record something on your camera, okay? Turn around, bring it home. In your DaVinci Resolve or whatever you're using, just put mute on the audio, right? Now you're looking at the same scene. You have an understanding of what the scene was, and then start taking the elements from that scene. People, wind and grass, waterfall here or there, maybe a bird flying overhead. Turn it off and then turn it back on. And then look at it again. And then turn it off and turn it back on. Just for your own headspace, to understand what's going on in whatever scene you're shooting, be it a city scene, be it a field, be it a river, be it whatever it is, just to give yourself an understanding of what's going on there. Because then you're going to start appropriating your ears to whatever scene that you're shooting at the time. Because now I'm in a shop, right? I'm in Adorama in New York. I got voices going on. I'm hearing the aircon. There's the fans off the computers here. You know, there's cars going outside, muted, but I'm still hearing them. So when you're building a scene, there's a great setup, and it's something that you should try and do. If you get a scene on your card, bring it home, whatever the scene is, if you can try and rebuild it in your DaVinci Resolve. If you can try and rebuild it in your DaVinci Resolve, it gives you a massive understanding of exactly what you're looking at or what you should be doing with that scene. Do you understand what I mean? I don't mean you to grab a Marvel, you know, basher crasher scene. I mean just something really basic, your local park, something just to go, all right, what do I miss here? What do I need here? What do I put in here to make it sound right? And that sort of understanding will bring you to a point that, all right, now I'm about to shoot and you got your lav on, okay, because I'm shooting an interview as a videographer. I'm hearing the aircon. I got to knock off. Who do I know can turn off the aircon? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's going to mess up my post big time.
Oh, the first thing
right?
when I'm filming them, the first thing I look at is what walls I'm around that'll reflect back. If you're by glass, it's like a nightmare.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
totally.
that's the first thing. And I never thought about that before till I started having to create videos.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, I better move, or talking to a blanket. Or Fernando calls me. He's like, I know you're in the hotel room right now at this trade show, but I need you to do a voiceover talking to this pillow where you say like Black Magic this. But that said, would you recommend Blackmagic as a free software to start learning audio? Is there some other free software that people could get started with?
I knew I'd be asked this. Okay, so for if you've any interest in either video, if you've any interest in video, get DaVinci Resolve full stop.
Right.
Absolutely, emphatically, it's free and it's the most amazing piece of kit. Even the free version is extraordinary.
With Fairlight.
Absolutely. Oh, totally, right? Now, Fairlight is a different story. You do get, whatever it is, the fifth tab over, you do get an audio DAW, digital audio workstation, right? And you can do an awful lot of work in there. It's brilliant. There's loads of videos online to help you. Though be really careful, because there's an awful lot of lads out there putting out an awful lot of this content, and they're not necessarily professionals. They're not necessarily have a huge, not the Adorama stuff, of course, right? I'm talking about, I go onto YouTube every now and again, and I'll be looking at stuff, and there's these guys going, oh, you got to do this in Fairlight, or you want to do this in Fairlight. do it this way, and it's not necessarily the greatest in the whole wide world. So we might look at that again at some stage, but I swear to God, just be really careful of what you're listening to. It's like all sorts of misinformation. You know what I mean?
Well, there's no
You
vetting
got to
on
watch
YouTube.
the source. You know what I mean?
There's no vetting on
No,
YouTube.
no,
That's why like
no,
the comments
and no.
usually tell you if it was proper or not.
But if the guys that are watching this to go and learn about such and such a process,
Yeah.
or such a way to do things,
go to Black
they
Magic's
won't know either.
Or go
Do
to
you know
their
what I mean?
channel, but go to Black
Yes.
Magic's
Yes.
channel. Like
Yes.
go to the source.
Yes,
you know?
totally. And listen, there's a load you can be doing in Black Magic. There are a load of DAWs. It's what do you want to do?
Right.
It's what you want to do. And yeah, Black Magic and the Fairlight tab will do an awful lot of really, really good stuff to get your video content out there. If you want to get some music together, then there's other things out there called Reaper, right? Reaper, an awful lot of musicians use it. 60 quid, it's yours for life, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's something that a lot of people use. It uses VST, which is a system of using, plugins or things like reverbs and stuff like that you'd use in your music. So you can use VST plugins in these DAWs as well. So there's free versions of stuff out there, so you'll be able to use it within this. When you're talking about buying stuff, have a little second mind to what you're buying, because you can get free stuff there as well, right?
Right.
If you buy an audio interface, you can get a free DAW, right? Now, I wouldn't suggest the entry-level Pro Tools will be helping many people hugely. And that's just from my experience of saying, yeah, why don't you get this Pro Tools version? There are other things out there. There's a thing called Nuendo. That's a super duper thing. But there's another thing called Cubase, which is absolutely amazing for what it does. And you get free versions of these things. So for music, I would absolutely go for Cubase.
And you got to try all this stuff out. You've got when you hear about something new, or like, how much time do you spend just trying out new programs? It's gotta be
I swear to
nuts.
God, man. To be honest with you, I never stop. I never
Doesn't
stop.
it drive you crazy
After
a while?
30 years, I'm still looking at gear. I'm still looking at processes. I'm still looking at ways to do things. I'm still looking at. Every day is a learning day. I swear to God,
Yeah.
there's nothing to it. Do you know what I mean?
It's ever-changing.
Every day, and then I'll sit down and I'll be out on location recording or whatever else, right? And you're out location recording and something goes wrong. Your mics don't work, batteries are gone. Now you have to switch into action mode,
Right.
You break open the S and you're in there, you know what I mean? And that's another
Put on
major
those
learning day.
stilettos, right?
A big time. Superman, I never heard that. Could you imagine the Foley and Superman if they all wore Henry Cavill coming into the scene? Clickety, clickety, click.
Fierce. Totally fierce.
Lex Luthor's gone, really? Anyway, I haven't even seen those. My favorite Superman is the 1977 version with Christopher Reeve. You see, do you know what I mean? Brilliant. Gene Hackman. Oh man. Even now, I went to my kids for Father's Day. They got me tickets to a live orchestra playing the soundtrack to the original Superman. Oh,
Wow.
It was brilliant. Myself and my eldest son, Manus, we went in there. We sat down in the concert orchestra. Whoa! You know what I mean? It was brilliant. Brilliant. Loved.
For a guy like you, that must have been bananas. I mean, I do want to get some questions, Chap.
Oh,
before we
sorry.
go
Yeah,
nuts.
there's people. We're not just sitting here ourselves, right?
No, Brad had a question that was like,
Hello,
hardware
Bradley.
related, and I can't.
Brad Pitt? No, it's Brad McMillan.
Yeah, Brad. Brad, if you want to repost it in there, I'm sorry, buddy. Just the chat.
Dunica.
filter.
Where's Dunica?
Where's what?
I saw a little Dunny's name. Dun. Where's Dunny? Where's Dunny? Where's Dunny?
I'm missing you, man.
We missed your streams, Keith.
Oh, there it is. I'm hearing a bit of a low rumble. Wow, when recording on my H1N, different snares and still does it. Any reason for this?
Yeah, I'm going to suggest that you have noise reduction turned on in the settings. Basically, a lot of these recorders, beautiful recorders, amazing toys, jeepers, love. I've got a few of them myself. But any of the onboard processing, I would personally turn off. You're getting your wah-wah because it's compressing or limiting whatever else is going into the recorder at the time. Okay? So if you turn that off, it allows you to record the full dynamic of what you should be recording. So basically you got your levels going up and down and a limiter's coming in and limiting how far the dynamic can go. When those limiters kick in, you can get that sort of wah-wah sucking sound, and that's probably what it is. So check your settings, okay? Your record settings in your H1N.
Why does any hardware have noise reduction?
Oh,
All
Christ.
you audio guys tell me to not put it on.
Don't do it. But you see, they're trying to make these accessible to everyone. Okay, so you're not an audio guy, imagine. You have a better understanding than an awful lot of because you've done it for so long, right? So they put these on there to try and give people a dig out that wouldn't necessarily do that.
Okay.
But they can cause so much pain.
They sound like
so
robots.
that audio goes to somebody else. Imagine a professional. Imagine you do your opus, and this is your greatest work, your life's work, and you record it on a H1N with all that over the dialogue. Oh man, could you imagine? You brought it to a post guy and he goes, yeah, it's going to cost you 60 grand just to redub all the audio, all the dialogue. You know what I mean? So yeah, try and turn off as much as you can, and don't worry about turning the level down, your recording level, because nowadays you can normalize stuff and you can bring up the gain of stuff, and you do have. You see, when you bring up the gain of stuff, you bring up all the noise underneath it as well, which is all the little electronics that are in these recorders and stuff, right? And the reduced quality of these microphones that wouldn't necessarily be on board. But you do have noise reduction in things like Fairlight. And when you're using those noise reduction things or dialogue isolate in, DaVinci Resolve in the Fairlight tab, don't whack it right on. Don't whack it right on. Just gently, 3 dB, have a listen. Am I hearing misappropriation to the dialogue? Do you understand what I mean? And maybe a little bit more, leave a bit of air in there. Air is so super important to humans' perception of scenes, right? So when you're doing an interview or whatever else, that you don't cut out all the air in the meantime, in between the words and the phrases.
Yeah.
Leave it in. Blend it all across so you have a constant feed of air behind your dialogue.
Organic.
Okay?
Hey, what's up, Sam? What's up? Come on in, buddy.
Somebody outside the window taking photographs.
That's Sam Beret, one of our filmmakers.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's why I love doing the live stream. I love my live streams feeling like a house party. One of the most important things I learned actually from audio, as a guy who knew nothing, was mic selection. It changes everything. In fact, you guys don't know this, but everyone's yelling behind us in this store the entire time we're recording this, and you probably aren't hearing any of it because I went with this style microphone. I'm not an expert, but I will say, like, it's amazing how audio works down the line. It starts from where you're recording, the point of recording, and then down the line.
Yes.
And once you put that in your head, you go, oh.
Yes.
It's like, it's a chain.
Totally. And it's literally like building the foundation in your house, right? So you have stupid epoxy foundations, it's just going to fall apart later on down the road. You know what I mean? So what I always encourage, I do a bit of work with students and stuff like that. I will always encourage them to get the best quality at the start, from the get-go.
Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah, totally, right? So if you are buying yourself a microphone, try not to go on to, I don't know, some eBay or something and get yourself for something for $20, because you know what? It's going to be a whole world of pain down the road.
Right.
And that is if it lasts through the whole shoot as well,
Yeah, but like $100 mic now is amazing. I mean,
the technology is amazing. And if you can afford to spend the money on it, I would encourage you to try and spend what you can on whatever equipment you get, okay? Because, again, if you get the foundation right, there's an awful lot you can do in post-production to help that.
Well, so I just did my Comic-Con video on my channel, right? And when I was going to Comic-Con, I said, I want to carry a lot of gear, but I know I'm going to run into a massive amount of noise trying to talk to people. So I went and I looked around what I had. I went with the DJI Pocket 2, the lab that went for that, and it worked incredible. A little bit of voice isolation on DaVinci, and now I have a video that I invested into that now my viewers are invested into, and they're paying it back. So if you're really doing this, you need people to invest as an audience, then you got to invest in as a creator not saying you have to put a fortune into it, but you have to make the right decisions and not go, what's the cheapest? Go, what's the right?
Yes, totally, because you're just going to cause yourself a world of pain otherwise.
And it's worthless. If no one wants to watch it or ingest the media you're creating, what's the point?
Listen, you're talking to the converted here, because you know what? Whatever you're doing, you could, like I was saying to you earlier, lads, and I say it probably daily to people, right? You end up with your final content. It could be the most extraordinary thing you've ever seen picture-wise. You've got your wide shot, you got your colours, you got vivid, you got just amazing looking shots. But again, if it's burning off the ears of your viewer, nobody's going to watch it. They're going to watch 10 seconds and they'll be gone. You're not getting your message across. You're not getting your story across.
No engagement.
You're not getting any engagement. Even the merest focus on the audio will pay you off in spades.
So we got some questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Actually, Kevin's asking, what's the biggest audio mistake you see people making on TikTok and Instagram Reels? So on social clips, what do you think is the biggest? It's got to be using the phone's mic straight up.
Oh, totally. Again, you were saying earlier about the camera mic.
Yeah.
Right? No. Too much distance between yous. Okay, so I have the camera here. There's the camera mic, right, pointing at Seth. The distance between that, he's got a lovely distance between the microphone and his mouth there. So you're going to get a much more present response. Okay, I can hear myself popping all over the place here with plosives. So there's much more presence here. Whereas if I set the microphone here, there's a distance. So you're getting all this sound around, you're getting the aircon, you're getting the people talking down here, you're getting everything going on in between, and you're not getting a whole lot of presence to be able to work with in post with Seth's voice from here, right?
But is there post on social? Like, people are filming and they're sharing.
Well, it's got to go somewhere, right? And there's algorithms in TikTok as well that'll look at that straight away. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Well, they'll look at... Basically, I did a video on it, right? And it's on the Adorama thing. You were saying, Jesus, it was great to see it, that you have why are my videos so quiet on YouTube, right? So that's in the playlist, right?
That's a killer video, by the way, if you don't realize it.
So basically, you're talking about, you put your video up there, its level is at a specific level because you worked on DaVinci Resolve, let's say, or whatever else you're using, and you put your video up there and it sounds way too quiet.
Yeah.
The only people that are going to be looking at that is YouTube. And they do all this post-processing in there to make sure that the level is consistent for their viewers. Okay. So I go on to one of Keith's videos, and I'm looking at Keith's video. Keith's video's level is this, and that's where I set my headphone level for listening on your computer or whatever else. And then Seth's video comes in, and he's way down here. Or he's way up here. Yeah. So YouTube says, no. What we'll do is we'll set a standard, very rough standard, to minus 14 LUFS, which is technical. And then what they do is they grab his, right, and they suck his video level down to sound more consistent with Keith, which is the level. And they want that across the board. So I can literally just sit there with my cans on and watch all these YouTube videos, and within reason they'll sound consistent. Yeah. It's like in the old days of TV, you know, you're on your remote control all the time with the loud ads, and then you got your TV content and stuff, right? They want loudness standards across the board, you know what I mean?
It makes sense.
So they do get involved. To answer your question, what was the question? I went down a road. I went down a rabbit hole.
The biggest mistake you see on people?
Yeah, recording on their phones, right? Yeah. I will always say, always do what you can about proximity, okay? If you can get a lav in there, amazing. Listen, if you can't, I don't know what you're doing, I don't know how you're shooting, I don't know whatever else, but, you know, a boom mic is always good as well. Gives you the freedom to dance around when you're doing all your dancing. You know, a boom mic or a close proximity, just out of frame. Right? So you put it out of frame, you're going to gather so much sound around you, and the response you're going to get from these is extraordinary. So imagine you had an external source, your H1N, as somebody mentioned earlier. You're recording, you could boom a H1N. It's not going to be great, but you know what? You're getting a boom in there. That's great. You do your dance around TikTok and you talk to the audience. You got the audio on your phone. You got your audio on your H1N. Okay? You take both clips into DaVinci Resolve, okay? You see your audio underneath your video, you mute that audio. Well, before you mute it, you select that clip, unlink the audio to the video. Select the audio, select your H1N video or audio, okay? Select both clips, right click, and then align via waveform,
Yeah.
right? So it'll go with your H1N audio, mute your video audio, and you got a really clean audio track for your video before you start editing.
Just an extra
Way
step.
forward.
And it's
Do you know what I
gonna
mean?
change everything.
Oh,
What about
man.
a micro shotgun on the phone for people that just want to like record really quick
Mm-hmm.
and share it from their phone at the point of capturing it? How about a micro shotgun for the phone? Would you recommend that at all or no? No, not give me a good face. Okay, moving on. Got another question in the chat. Is it best to record audio a little high or low for ease of post process? Getting more into video with photos.
Okay, so it depends on what you're recording. Okay, the two of us are having a chat here. The majority of the conversation is there isn't a huge amount of dynamic in it. Okay, so the dynamic range of your recordings is the lowest part of the recording to the highest part. So when we burst out laughing, mwahaha, okay, that's going to be really loud, whereas we're just talking together, so we have a pretty consistent level there. So for those mahahahas, okay, you'll need to bring your level down a wee bit, okay, just to give you a little bit of headroom, because I'm assuming everyone's seen the waveform that you get from your audio files, right? And if you haven't, just take it off your SD card, bring it into DaVinci Resolve. I keep saying DaVinci Resolve. There's loads of different stuff out there,
DaVinci's
man.
just really good and free until you want the paid version. But even the free version is amazing, so we keep on bringing that up. Plus Blackmagic, I mean.
Oh yeah, totally. And you know what? There's other music stuff out there that just absolutely amazingly brilliant, like, you know, and free versions as well. So if you're into your music, you'd be dragging it into something else. Okay, for argument's sake, we're bringing it into DaVinci Resolve, right? You'll see your dynamic of the waveform, all right? So if you go a little lower, okay, not too low, okay, then you have headroom. Okay, so for when people are going mwahaha really loud, right, maniacally, you basically have enough headroom in your recording so it doesn't distort. Okay, now 32-bit recording is another 5 hours conversation, but when you're generally recording, then just to have that little bit of headroom. Now, if you go too low, just like I said earlier, you start hearing all the little electronics and stuff like that, and stuff off the little goofy microphones on some of these recorders, and all that noise comes up when you bring your level up, okay? Then you can bring in a bit of noise reduction, but how is that going to affect? So it kind of depends on what you're recording, you know? Dialogue, great. Explosions, I bring it down a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So it all depends on what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
And I'm sure he's got a video in that massive playlist that we have of Keith Alexander right here on this channel.
Yeah.
I mean, you have so many videos on audio. Something about that's got to be
There's
in there.
definitely something in there, and it rings a bell because I remember doing it as well. I turned to the producer one day. We were shooting down somewhere, and I wanted, see the gas cylinder? I want that to explode. And then they brought in a dinosaur. I want a dinosaur. We were talking about dynamics or whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember what it was. So apparently they didn't go with it.
No, I'm going to say not.
Wasn't in the budget.
Funny. So we got two questions in the chat, but I'm going to jump to Brad's first because we're kind of in that right now. Do you recommend?
How are you, Michael? Sorry. Go on.
Do you recommend 32-bit over 16-bit since you brought it up?
Okay, don't. I will suggest you just leave 16-bit back in the 80s if you possibly could.
Ooh, you guys are so.
No,
sassy.
listen.
You audio guys, man, unbelievable.
So you got 16-bit. So what's the bitage is what we're saying. It's the amount of dynamic range that a recorder can record. Okay, so when 16-bit came out, it was for CDs and stuff, right? And it was amazing technology, or so we thought. But you get a really, really reduced dynamic range. So classical music off CDs sounds like shite, right? So what you do is you buy yourself all your classical records on vinyl, people. So 16-bit gives you a really, really small dynamic range to work with. If you go 24-bit, which is high definition television and 4K, right, you get a much bigger dynamic range, okay? So switch all your recorders to 24-bit if you possibly can. So you're not getting distortion here on peaks and stuff here, there, and everywhere that you might necessarily be able to fix in post.
Also,
okay?
it's like, why not? You audio people have it so easy when it comes to storage. Your files are so tiny compared to video.
Yeah.
I'm like eating gigs like it's nothing. You
Yeah,
guys like,
yeah.
oh, my entire library is on this 128 gig card. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So you might as well get all the information you can.
So, sorry, just before I finish on that, 32-bit is a whole new technology out there that gives you the most massive range possible in the whole wide world ever. You could be beside the rocket and literally recording it, and you won't distort because of the massive dynamic range. There's issues to deal with in post that necessarily you don't want to be dealing with. Okay, so I would suggest 24-bit right now. When you get your head around all of that, then go 32-bit.
Michael's asking,
good man, Vega.
Fairlight versus Nuendo, pros, cons, thoughts.
Listen, chalk and cheese. Fairlight is great for all your content and video work and stuff, right? Nuendo is a dedicated DAW, and to be honest with you, I'm a massive fan of Nuendo. I love it because it just offers so much to the end user. You buy it outright. It's not a subscription model, that sort of stuff. So you actually own it, and you can run so much stuff. There's things in there like the ADR package. There's the media bay. There's lots and lots of really, really good stuff for high-end post-production. Okay, so for me, working on film, working on game, it's brilliant for game because it integrates with the Wise package as well, right? But it's really high. It's not really high end. It's high end post production for game, film, TV, all that sort of stuff, and it is quite amazing what ships in the box. I mean, you get your full Dolby Atmos set up in there as well, and that just ships for the same money. It's like, what? Anyway, that said. And Fairlight is brilliant for content. It is brilliant for you guys. I mean, the free version, it's just off the scale, you know? And yeah, we should look definitely at the audio in Fairlight and stuff like that. If that's something you guys would love to see and do a wee bit more of, listen, there's a whole new world out there for you, and you're offered so many toys. I wouldn't say Fairlight is punching among the heavyweights right now, but I will say it's on the right trajectory. It absolutely is on the right trajectory. And these guys are giving this stuff away for free, and it just blows my mind.
And it's easy. Like the voice isolation is
simple.
literally a toggle.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah.
So I will say we have so many tools than ever before, but we're also in a very competitive market where that's why there's free versions of stuff, because they're trying to get you into it.
Yeah.
So go explore it a little bit. I do use DaVinci personally editing. I know the team here at Adorama has been all migrating into DaVinci for the videos, and we've been saying it a lot, but it's because it's free. I don't want to keep on kicking something to you to try to sell you a software.
Oh, no, it's not about the selling, man. It's not about the selling. And listen... We're not
Keith, we call him. He's trying to sell you that free software.
But what I'm saying to you is all the professional world is moving over as well.
I know.
Right, for video and for color, right? For color and whatever else. All the pros. So you shoot something and you come up with a budget and you want to get real professionals to finish it for you, they will take DaVinci Resolve, no problem. Avid media composer and stuff like that, I don't think it holds a candle to it, to be honest with you. But, you know, people are invested in that sort of stuff. That's fine.
Well, part of the smart thing about DaVinci was not only is it powerful and really good, but because it's a free version, young filmmakers are being raised in it.
Yes.
So that's becoming the new standard when it's that accessible. Instead of Avid, which was like really hard to, honestly, it's very difficult for people who, it's a huge learning
I can't
curve.
get my head around it.
It's crazy.
I really can't.
My friend works at CBS Studios here in New York, and he knows it, and he's like, I'm looking at it like he's launching a space shuttle. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But that's what that standard was for something that was a 56-year-old
when it came out first, nobody else did anything like it. And it was amazing. And you spent £60,000 per seat, or 60,000, whatever, bucks, euros, dollars, whatever, per seat. And now you're getting DaVinci Resolve for free. It's astounding. It blows me mind.
You have Adobe Premiere Rush on your phone.
Yes.
I mean, what?
And now you can get it on the iPad as well, can't you?
I think so.
Yeah, for the iPad Pro or
It's
something.
literally made so you can just do rough cuts right there while you're walking to your seat to go finish it.
Yes,
It's just
yes.
wild.
Yeah,
you know?
bonkers,
So,
bonkers, bonkers.
moral of the story is there's no excuses anymore, kids. All right? Keith,
Yes.
man, it's been an hour, man.
What?
I know. A
Have
New
you
York
another
minute, a New York hour. It is what it is, man. Guys, do yourselves a favor and check out Keith at Noise Miner. He's got a whole website full of stuff. He's putting courses together. We have an entire playlist of years of audio knowledge from this man.
More years than I care
What was
to
the name of the series
remember.
again?
Huh?
What was the name of the series?
Perfecting audio.
Perfecting Audio. That's what
Audio.
it was.
Yes.
Audio.
Yeah. So, gee, what?
I know.
An hour.
I know.
Anyway, thanks, lads.
Good. But yeah, go do yourself a favor. Check out the Perfecting Audio playlist here on Adorama TV. Drop some comments if you watch this on playback. Maybe if you guys want to see some things audio-related content-wise, we can start paying attention to it a little bit more. Let us know what you're looking at, what you're trying to figure out. Throw them in those comments. Hit like if you haven't done that. Hit subscribe if you're new here. And don't forget to hit subscribe on the new Adorama Events YouTube channel. I'll put a thing over here, a QR code above this lovely man's head, that you guys can stay up on what comes out of this event space. And of course, it's 42 West 18th Street. You guys are always welcome to stop by. I want to thank Printique. Man, I got so much stuff here. Boom. Printique for sponsoring this one. And don't forget, you guys are getting a good deal here with, let's see, that code right there. 30% off if you're doing $75 or more in free shipping. Check out that code. It ends on the 12th, so get on that as soon as you can. Oh, man. And what's the last one? Oh, Brulita, thanks for the coffee and keeping us caffeinated. If you can't tell, I'm totally caffeinated. Anyway, Keith, man, thanks for coming through.
That was a joy. That was a joy.
I can't remember the last time I saw you, but he's been on this channel. I mean, this is one of the OG of the Adorama channel.
What does the OG mean?
The original.
Ah, very good.
The man.
I'm not with the lingo.
It's all right. I don't understand Gaelic, so we're in the same boat. Don't worry about it. But guys, check out his series here on Adorama TV. We're gonna see where we can go going forward. But Keith, man, thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for everything you done on the Twitch channel when no one was in that chat. I appreciate
man, that was
it.
great crack. Listen, man, put me on every week to talk to nobody.
I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next. Are we doing one next week? Yeah, next week. I'll see you next week, Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, live right here on Adorama TV. We will see you soon. Later.